Thanks for staying up later. I'm Bob Costas, and this week in theaters everywhere, it's John Candy opening up as Uncle Buck, which we'll come back to in a minute. But let's work on the assumption that most people watching this, unless they got out there yesterday, haven't seen Uncle Buck yet. So let's go to a recent one that many of our audience has seen.
All right.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which has 2 or 3 of the funniest scenes you could ever want to latch on to.
We laughed a lot in that. Another John Hughes picture, by the way. We had a great time making that. We traveled a lot.
How much of it was ad-libbed?
Good portion of it. You know, there was a really solid blueprint script that John had that was very funny, and if we just shot that, it would suffice anybody. But John loves to just, let's push it one more, let's see what else we can get, let's find a line here or there. We found that out the first week, the first couple days of shooting. You know, Steve and I would finish the scene, and we'd be looking at each other, we'd still be in character, and we wouldn't hear cut. And his eyes kind of flashed just a little, and you realize he's not going to cut. Oh, God. So then you stay in character and you go, well, what about this? And he's just behind, you know, he's laughing back there.
The scene where the two of you wake up, you're in the same bed, and this is Steve Martin's worst nightmare. That not only does he have to share a room with you, but there's only a single bed, and now the two of you greet dawn's early light together.
To the music of Patsy Cline, back in baby's arms. Oh, God. Well, as soon as that music came on, we started laughing. That was, you know, that was about an hour and a half before we could do it again. Because every time we got in that position, we'd start laughing, and we'd hear the music, we'd start laughing. Then we'd settle down, and we'd see the camera start shaking. and everybody lost it. And then John said, well, you got to get closer to him. You got to nuzzle his ear. Kiss him in the ear. No, I'm not going to kiss him in the ear. You kiss him in the ear.
How bad does it annoy an actor who's doing a comic thing like that when you have to do take 4 or 5 and you know the most inspired thing happened the first time something really spontaneous happened, and you're going to keep it, but now the other guy's going to hear it for the 4th time or the 5th time, so his reaction is not going to be original, but the first one had to be junk because the blocking wasn't right or something went wrong.
Yeah. That's tough. That's always very hard to do, to keep the spontaneity going, especially if you find that one line or something in there that you take after take after take, and to keep it fresh. But I guess that's, you know, that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
That's the job.
Another scene I think about whenever I see you on television or wherever is the racquetball scene.
Yes.
Splash.
It was another inspired day. 3 takes on that.
Just 3 takes to get that one right?
3 takes to get on the head. We left early that day. The crew applauded me.
There you are, and you're really a fitness buff with a cigarette dangling from your lips.
A can of beer. He's been he had a rough night the night before, and he's playing racquetball with his brother, played by Tom Hanks. He doesn't really want to be there. He joined this great club, I think, because of the bar and probably meeting the girls there to check out the babes playing racquetball, or to sneak around their locker room. But I served off the wall, and it came back, and I didn't realize just how fast those balls move.
Yeah.
and they hurt, too. But I had this great smile on my face, which you can never see, but that it hit. I was so excited. Then in a split second, I realized I had to fall, otherwise we're going to have to do this again. So I took the hit, and I smiled and dove down. That was the hardest part, was the diving down, because there was no stopping.
How bad did it really hurt?
It hurt. It was a good one, but it was worth it. The moments like that, they're worth it.
How difficult is it to read reviews or to sit in the audience and hear reactions, and the reaction and the reviews are pretty much the same? We like John Candy. We don't necessarily like the film.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like a guy who goes 4 for 4, but his team loses?
Uh-huh. That happens. Yeah, you feel terrible about it because you really want the movie to succeed. You don't take them just. Well, I'll get paid for it, and that's great. I don't care about the rest of it, as long as I look good in it. That's ridiculous. That's not me, anyway. There's a lot of people like that, I'm sure. But, as I say, if you're not involved with the assembly of putting the picture together, and even beyond that, the marketing of the picture, which these days is just, that's as important as the script.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they sell it. I mean, look at this summer with Batman, Ghostbusters. The campaigns that have come out, it's just, they're to be applauded, the way they're opening pictures these days.
Speaking of Ghostbusters, you could have been in the first one, right? You could have had the Rick Moranis role.
Yeah, how do you know that? Yeah.
Pretty much, what were they, just typecasting by body type, or what?
I don't know what the heck it was. It was, we were Harold had called, and things just didn't go well in
Harold
the
Ramis.
in the negotiations on it. And we didn't see eye to eye on certain things. And the rest was history, but Rick did a great job with it.
Let's go to another Ramis vehicle with Bill Murray, which is Stripes, and we'll end this opening segment on that one because you couldn't have had many bad feelings about that, either your role in it or the thing overall.
No, I had a great time in that one. That was just a lot of fun to do.
I guess the scene that most people would remember of yours would be the mud wrestling scene where you finally decide your patriotic fever has been raised by a pep talk from Bill Murray, and you decide you'll do it.
I had to do it for the team, absolutely, for the Corps. For me.
Speaking of takes, I mean, I'm hoping you got that on the first or second take, because who'd want to roll around in the mud all day?
Unfortunately, no. That took that took an extra week of shooting. For some reason, I just kind of blanked. I couldn't get a line out there. And every time we had to do it, and it got boring, too, believe me. You know, you'd have to just get in there with 6 girls, wrestle them, and then, you know, the take didn't work, so you'd have to go take a shower with them. And then, you know, the first 2 times, you know, I'll admit, it was fun. But then, the 6th, 7th time, you know, I scrub my back. Okay, come on, let's get going. Let's hurry up and let's get this over with today.
Oh, what a drag.
It was tough. They paid me for that, too.
Back with John Candy. The days of SCTV.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about stuff that, I guess it still lives. I was going to say it'll live forever. It lives now.
Living now on Nickelodeon, yeah.
Yeah. The Schmengies. The Schmengies were my favorites. Johnny LaRue was great and William B., but the Schmengies.
They were the best. We had so much fun doing them. Gene Levy and I found those characters. Of course, there was a derogatory remark. It was schmagegi, I guess. I don't know if we can say that. But
Yiddish word.
A Yiddish word, and we would...
What would be the exact definition of schmagegi?
I don't want to know. I don't think right now. We call a lot of people schmagegis. But schmeggi came from that. It was actually from a friend of mine in Los Angeles, Stephen Young, who called everybody a schmeggi. And I picked it up, and then I brought it into the group, and everybody was a schmeggi. And if you did this, you were a schmeggi. If you did that, you were a schmeggi. We were in Edmonton in a hotel room, and we were watching a polka show. There wasn't a lot on TV that night. And we were working on a scene, and we watched these 2 guys in a polka show, a local show. Well, look at those 2 schmaggis. There's big light bulbs going. Went yes, and we wrote it real quick. We shelved it. We didn't shoot it for 6 months. We brought it back. We forgot because we shot back in Toronto again the next season, and we forgot about the scene. And we brought it and said, yes, this was good. And we took it. We started getting the characters all made up and placed the warts in the right spot and get gold tooth and who's going to be what. And Gene, you know, I said we have to be blonde, so Gene had to go for the wig, and I went with that tight wave.
Yeah,
you could surf on my head, you know.
Kind of like a wrestler's wave.
Yeah, it was a bad do, a real bad do. And clarinet and accordion, because I played a clarinet in high school. Gene played accordion, so we could fake that.
So there were the Schmengies.
There were the Schmengies. We came on, and the extras we hired a lot of elderly folk in there to be our extras for the polka party that the Schmengies were having. And everyone just fell in love with them. As soon as we came out in the characters, we knew we had something with those characters.
Stan.
Yash and Stan. We did the salute to John Williams.
That was the cheapest.
The thing about the Schmengies
is... a shark's head over my head.
The team from Jaws. Dun, 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 dun.
Bad show.
I give the Schmengies credit because they were always trying to modernize. They weren't content just to play Dudu, Lichner, and Hansen.
Oh, they were just crooks. They really were.
They were trying to, do Michael Jackson stuff on the accordion.
They ripped off Michael Jackson, yeah.
Let me ask you, Yash, do the Schmengies have groupies?
Oh, we've got groupies, and, Plutonian groupies. And believe me, you don't want to know them. Too many cabbage rolls on those girls.
It was necessary when the Schmengies finally called it quits. Just as the band had made their final statement in the last waltz, it was necessary for the 2 of you
to say goodbye, to retire in the way accustomed and befitting us and our fans.
The last polka.
The last polka. But who's to say it's the last one? If the money were right, say, comeback could be in order.
Kind of a documentary-style flick with people pontificating on the sociological significance of the Schmengies.
I love the barbecue we had in the backyard that kept getting bigger and bigger. You know, as we kept getting back to the raging fire. These guys are terrible. They're such. What do they do? Something like 200 albums in a year. They're cranking them out one a
have
week.
to be productive.
They were cranking them out.
How about when Joe Flaherty would play Sammy Maudlin? The reason I bring this up is that tomorrow night, we're not approaching a quarter century like Carson, but tomorrow night is our first anniversary special.
Yes, and happy first, by the way.
Thank you. And that brings to mind one of the great Sammy Maudlin moments. Here's Flaherty, and you're his Ed McMahon-style sidekick, William B.
Bad.
And you know the bit I'm thinking about.
He made me do that, too, you know? He made me do that character. That's how that character came. He said, just do that cheap laugh you do. What? He said, just do that laugh, and we'll go. William B. Williams. I said, I don't look like William B. Williams, who was the radio announcer.
Yeah.
I said, I don't look like him. He said, but we're just using his name. It's a funny name. And he said, just do that laugh. And from that point on, you know, that's all because I always hated doing that character.
And
I just had to sit there. Well, these guys were getting all the laughs. I was, good, Sam, good. And everybody would turn on me, you know. Shut up, William B. Yes, okay. All right, Bobby.
The high point, or maybe the low point, came when, in a striking parallel to the Ed Ames tomahawk incident.
Oh, God, that was funny. With a rock.
Can you recreate
Throwing
it?
a rock. Gene played the Ed Ames character in it, and he came out in a full warrior's outfit with feathers, and he was going to throw a rock and knock an apple off my head or something. And William B. in a very young, high voice, too, William B. had, remember? All right, Sammy, I'm ready for it. And he missed. And he hit exactly where Ed Ames hit on the Johnny Carson show, only with a rock.
And how did William B.'s laugh sound after that?
Sammy, that's not funny. Quit laughing, Sam. I'm in pain here. Sammy, they were laughing their butts off. Oh, God.
We'll be back.
Oh, that was funny.
Uncle Buck, out just this week.
Yeah.
A typical John Hughes movie in that virtually every adult is totally unsympathetic.
Yes, I know.
Except
for me, I hope, in this one.
Kindly old Uncle Buck.
Yes. A wonderful character. It was fun to do. John really has a knack with those scripts, and he's got a knack for the dialogue, you know, for what's going on today. It's interesting because the whole picture, for me, always, you know, was really just communication and who's listening and who's not to each other.
What's your favorite bit of business that Uncle Buck winds up doing? And for those who haven't seen it yet, Uncle Buck is a kind-hearted, bumbling, ne'er-do-well guy who is pressed into service to watch his nieces and nephews while the parents go off on an emergency.
Well, but I couldn't have done that. I was trying to figure out what I was going to say. Geez, there were so many in there that would... the scene with the teacher was fun to do, with the melanoma.
Yeah.
The laundry scene.
Before we run, let's talk about Radio Candy.
Okay.
Where you get to do a lot of stuff, you know, pretty much at your own whim.
Yeah, that's as close creatively the freedom we have that I've had in a long time. I paid for it myself. That's what we split with
Syndicated
Transtar
radio show.
Yeah, and we're in about 325 markets, called Radio Candy. I don't know, with a K. All right, we went clever there. Sorry, Bob. Joe Flaherty's in it, Dave Thomas, Valerie Bromfield, Ira Miller, Royce Applegate. Who am I leaving out? Mike Short is working on it. Jimmy Doohan, who is Scotty in Star Trek, is our engineer on the show. The only place we haven't sold it is New York.
Really?
Just for some reason the station's here to go on it. I don't know. That was real silly.
One bit
Couldn't
you did
understand
was Rocky V, which turned out to have nothing to do with Sly Stallone.
Right. It was actually, we had June Foray on, who was the Rocky of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Uh-huh.
It was Rocky V, Rocky versus Bullwinkle.
Holy smoke, Bullwinkle, we've been through a lot together.
Yeah.
But I never thought I'd be in a boxing ring with you. Did you?
Yeah.
You're not really going to hit me, are you?
Yeah.
Assume in John Candy's native Canada,
I
right?
certainly hope so.
It is Uncle Buck. You get a chance, go and see it. And if you get a chance, be with us again tomorrow night It's our first anniversary special. That's right, folks. Believe it or not, we've been here for a year, and we take over the Friday night video slot tomorrow after Letterman for a 90-minute look back at some of the highlights of our first year on. Thanks, John.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Bob.
John
Happy
Candy.
anniversary.
Thanks, and we'll see you later.